So this is the first special edition podcast we've done. We haven't done one of these yet, so this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Normally we're in studio. We are in WDJM's studio on the Framingham campus, but this time we are in Tower. We're in the Towers, my dorm building. Going to do a special edition podcast today. Probably get 2 of them up. Don't know when we're going to get both of these uploaded, but we will be recording one now, which obviously we're doing, for Wrestlemania. We're going to start off with, because for Cobra's Corner's new wrestling show, we did not get nearly in depth, especially into the main event matches that we should have gotten into. So what we're going to do now is just break down each of these matches, give our picks and predictions, and actually talk about it, because I went off for 10 minutes on Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
I shouldn't do that.
No.
Or I should do that, just more on the podcast like this than actually in studio. Like here I'm allowed to go off on Tyler Breeze. We have no time restraints. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to break down all the matches. Later on, today's Thursday, because I have no idea when we're uploading this. It's Thursday, April 3rd. By Monday, we're going to have a special edition podcast for the MLB baseball preview. Because, again, we did not get nearly in depth as we should have or would have liked to. So, we're going to record both of those today, and we'll get those up as soon as we can. So, let's just start off, like we said, with Wrestlemania, which is what we are going to talk about with. I guess let's start off with the pre-show, because we never gave our actual picks and predictions. The pre-show is Los Matadores versus Ryback versus the Real Americans versus the Usos for the tag titles. How do you think that's going to play out?
I have no desire to see that match.
You have no desire to see that match?
It sounds like it's going to be an absolute disaster. Like, just think about it. A 4-team tag team championship match. And it's on the pre-show. So, I mean, how much are you really going to expect from it?
It's on the network's part of the pre-show, which is at least the encouraging part.
I guess.
Because if it was on the regular...
The Facebook, YouTube,
I'd be more inclined to think it's going to end horribly. But the fact that it's actually on the network and that they're trying to use that to bump network buys, I feel like they're going to let the 4 teams have...
I hate that Los Matadores is in it, because...
Where would you rather have them, though? Here or the Andre Battle Royal?
Well, I'd rather have them in the...
Because they have to be in one of them.
I'd rather be in the Battle Royal, because at least you can kind of keep them... And you don't have to showcase them when there's that many people in the ring. I'd rather have the Brotherhood in there. I mean, they're the only other credible real tag team.
See, I think
they're more credible than anyone else besides the Usos at this point.
See, I think they're gonna put the Brotherhood in the Battle Royal.
No, I
to split the Brotherhood up.
You think they do it like in that Battle Royal?
Yeah, both of them have wanted this for a while. A Cody versus Goldust feud. You put the match at Mania. They've had their ups and downs. You have the match at WrestleMania in the Battle Royal. They're not going to have a match, obviously, at WrestleMania, but it sets the build for a match at Extreme Rules, and that's gonna be where I think the match is going to take place.
Yeah, I understand that, but you could still have them do that in the tag match.
I get that, but if they wanted the tag titles on the pre-show, having Goldust and Cody fight is more of a main card thing.
I know, but it would make more sense in a tag team match situation where, one person either, if it's an accidental, I wasn't there to tag you in, or if he just deliberately, whoever is the heel in that situation turns on him or whatever, it just kind of makes more sense for a tag team match. Because I guess the only way you do it in the Battle Royal is, I eliminated you. But then
that's gonna be
that's not really heelish, because it's like in the Royal Rumble, well, it's, every man for themselves. It doesn't look as bad.
I get that, but if it was a situation where, like, let's just say, who do you think would be the heel, Goldust or Cody?
Probably Cody.
Cody eliminates Goldust while Goldust is trying to eliminate someone else. It's not like he's helping Goldust, he just eliminates Goldust.
Yeah, but it's hard to make those things look heel-like, because that's the entire purpose of the match. Like, it could work, but I feel like, as overused as it is, just, tag me and jump off the ropes.
See,
it's overdone.
It's too cliche.
But WWE is cliche.
That's all they are at this point.
That's what they do. That's what they do best. Like, I mean, I wouldn't want them to do it like that, but that would at least seem more realistic. And at the same time, if you do that at the end of a pretty good, say it's like a 13, 14-minute match, you still have them in the majority of the match making a good match of Los Matadors, who no one's going to take seriously, to have any chance of winning.
Yeah, Los Matadors have looked so weak in the build. They've been the other three teams' punching bags.
Because no one cares about them, at least.
Because they're trying to get everyone on this card.
Yeah, and I understand. I just think they would have been better suited as just like smaller guys in the battle royal.
See, here's the thing. If I kind of like them in the tag match because it gives them the ability to be more showcased when they do something flippy.
Yeah.
Because at this point they're just glorified spot monkeys.
Here's the thing. If they're gonna actually use this match as like a vessel to like not push them per se, but try to like make them look credible and like they're like just show them off, then fine. But if they're just gonna like be the forgotten team and not really make much of an impact, it's a waste. I feel because you could have them be flipping a battle royal, especially with a lot of people in it too.
But if it's just the four teams,
I know they get more.
They get more of a spotlight. So when they do flip, more attention's on them than everyone else.
I don't know. I feel like it's.
I'm not disagreeing with it though.
I mean, I guess they wanted to get as many bigger names in the battle royal, but I don't know.
And it's more that. So, who do you think is going to walk out of WrestleMania the tag champs? Is it way too soon to take the belts off the Usos?
It would seem so.
I would like to put the belts on.
I would put them on the Real Americans.
But
they've been...
There have been reports that after Mania's over, Cesaro is going to get his huge push. So would it really be a smart thing?
That was one of those things like, I'm like, I'd want to put it on them, but I'm not sure how much longer they really can reasonably exist as a tag team.
I love those two. I love each of them individually.
I have noticed...
I've always been a huge Swagger fan. You know that. That's something that's never actually been stated on the podcast or the YouTube show, is I'm a huge Swagger guy. I've been a huge Swagger guy since he was back in FCW, when he first got called up to ECW. When he won Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, that was one of my highlights. I loved that. So when he came back with the Real American with Zeb Coulter, and that whole thing formed, I was stoked. And when they put Cesaro with them, I have a lot of...
Dumbass blew it, too.
What was that?
Dumbass blew it, too.
He did. He did blow it. But I'm really pulling for the two of them. I don't think it's going to happen strictly because Cesaro is going to get a push.
And I swear to God, if Ryback wins, or the Los Matadors wins, it has to be the Usos or the Real Americans.
Unless they put the belts on Ryback,
God.
just to let the Usos go back to being the chasers, because I feel like they're better suited to be the team chasing the titles than having the titles. And then it also gives more credibility to, oh yeah, look, we let the titles change hands on the network on the pre-show.
Yeah. How far Ryback's fallen from last year's meeting to this year's meeting?
Well, first off, he wasn't even built that good at last year's Mania.
No, true, because he did fight Mark Henry, but
and lost in the most cartoonish way possible.
But that was basically the beginning of what is now in full effect. Because before that, he was still, he still was in the whole CM Punk thing in January and all that. So
true.
Shortly before that, he was a main event guy.
See, I just still think it's funny. Have you ever seen anyone lose a match that way?
No.
The way he did?
No.
For those of you who don't remember, Ryback had Mark Henry up on his shoulders. Mark Henry did that thing where he elbows him to fall on for the pinning, for it to be the pin. And Mark Henry got the 3 count.
Yep. I didn't think it would actually end that way. I'm like...
I remember, because you were with me. I looked away to say something to you, and I heard the bell go off. I did not see that happening. It's going to be really interesting to see how this match gets booked. So, if you had to put your guess, who do you got?
The Usos.
I'll take the Usos too. I want to take the Real Americans, but it's
kind of it's one is kind of quick. 2, it just doesn't seem like, unless they want to give them a really short run, but that seems like a waste. I don't know. I'm sticking with the Usos. I'm
gonna stick with the Usos just because I could see now. I see the Battle Royal being the place where Cody and Goldust feud starts. I could also see them having
The Real Americans.
start their breakup here. Because they've teased it for so long.
Yeah.
Having Cesaro turn on Swagger, or more realistically, Swagger turn on Cesaro.
I think it'd be Swagger and Zeb.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Because I don't think...
Cesaro doesn't need the mouthpiece.
And Zeb wouldn't be a face anyways.
No, and that's what
Cesaro was the face and all.
Here's the question. Do they call up someone to replace...
Oh, for the Real Americans?
Yeah. Because the Real Americans is a good gimmick. Everyone... The We the People chants are one of the louder chants that they consistently get when those guys come out.
Who fits the bill?
One person I thought of offhand, I would not want it. Bo came to mind.
I don't know. I'm not a big... He just doesn't look... He just...
I know. He was just the first person that popped into my mind was Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, shout out to NXT, which is on tonight. I finally got my Paige shirt. I'm happy for that. She retweeted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ended up retweeting it. I'm having a contest to see who likes me more, her or Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze has 2 retweets. Paige has a retweet and 2 favorites. So they're competing against each other. But I could see that. I would be curious because I love Swagger. I've always been a huge Swagger fan. I feel like he's better suited right now in a tag team. I saw that. I feel like he's better suited for a tag team right now. So I feel like they would have to put someone with Zeb and Swagger to keep Swagger relevant. Because Swagger, I feel like, has gone from a wrestler that no one appreciated to actually one of the more underrated wrestlers on the roster. Because when they gave him his first run, he was still a little green. Now, he is so underrated because people still give him crap for when he was green in the ring, that now he's underrated.
I mean, it doesn't help what he did last year. You know,
I know.
People are always going to look at him like he's a liability or a risk. It's like, can we really trust you to even, not screw this all up?
I think that was a wake-up call for him. Because we haven't heard anything out of him since in his personal life.
It was literally the day after. It's like, dude, you gotta know better than that.
See, the thing for me with Swagger had the alcohol at one point where he was reportedly getting drunk a lot. Then he took care of that and then switched over to drugs. We haven't heard a peep from that since.
Well, yeah, I hope I think after that, he's not tonight, so if he screws up again, he's probably not going to get much.
But that's the point I'm getting at, is I feel like
much of a chance at all.
I trust him right now more than Randy.
I don't trust him as much as... Well...
I trust him way more than Randy.
Yeah, but how many wellness violations is he on?
1 to 2.
I mean, how many...
No, Swags is 1, Orton's 2.
That's right. I didn't know how many...
Randy's at 2.
I knew Randy was at 2. I wasn't sure how many Swag was on.
Even then, I actually don't think he has a strike on him, now that I think about it. Because what he got busted for, he didn't get suspended for.
I know.
So he could very well have none.
I know Randy has 2.
I'm still bitter at Randy because he killed Barrett.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. I think Randy knows that he is a lot more important to the company than someone like a Swagger is. Not saying that matters for them personally, but he probably has a lot more pressure on him to not screw it up, considering the impact that if he got fired would be. Whereas if Swagger got fired, it would suck a little bit, but stuff happens. We've had people like that leave, Mr. Kennedy's, like those mid-card guys who we really liked, who could have been more, and kind of just leave. Whereas Randy's been in the company for 12 years now.
Something like that.
Third generation guy, prolific champion after champion, winner of this and that, been in this many WrestleManias. If he leaves and he gets fired, that's huge.
But see, here's the thing: when Randy got his second strike, it was when he was already in the middle of a big feud with Barrett, and that was when Barrett was supposed to get his big push to the main event scene was through Orton, and Orton screwed that up for Barrett. And Randy, that was his second strike. That's not including the time, let's not forget, where Randy almost died.
Yeah.
From back in, 2004?
Yeah.
2004, 2005?
Around that time.
where he almost OD'd and died on sleeping pills.
Yeah.
So, I like Orton. I'm a huge Orton fan. I trust Swagger right now way more. Because if I was Orton,
I think at this point, they're both probably on their best behavior. I don't think either of them are really going to...
Well, I thought that with Randy, and then that's when he got suspended with...
Well, yeah, but he knew at that point he still had another shot. Now he knows...
Still.
This.
Because if I'm Randy, I would have to think... Does Vince want to fire me? Does Triple H want to fire me?
At that point, they'd have to for business standpoint. They couldn't take the hit of... oh well, you fired this guy for the same thing, but you kept this guy.
No one's ever gotten third strike though.
Okay, but here's the thing. That means, but then if anyone else gets a third strike, they're gonna have a case. To
but if they brush it under the rug though, like if it's a positive test and they just don't announce it.
And then if that ever comes out, they're in deep shit.
Oh, I know that. It's just they could do something like that, and that's more what I was getting at.
I don't think, especially with the way they're trying to.
Linda's not running for Senate again.
No, but they're still trying to have their company be viewed. That would be an awful hit for
it would
they'd
would be.
They'd have to set an example. They wouldn't want to, but I mean, he's a grown up. He's had enough chances to fix it. At that point, you can't bail him out anymore.
I thought that was a very personal shot that Hunter took at Orton a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago on Raw,
Mm-hmm.
where it was and I'm sick of do you remember the exact line he said? It was like, I'm sick of talented people wasting away their wasting their gifts.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was a very personal shot at
Well, this
Randy.
is the reality era, Jason. You gotta.
That one bugs me because we've been in the reality era for well over a year and a half now.
It basically started when Punk put the pipe bomb down.
I'd go sooner than that. I'd go a little bit sooner than that. Because at that point, was that before or after that years? That would be before. My years are off. I'd count the reality era when Miz won Money in the Bank. Because Miz was the reality TV star.
Yeah, but that was, at that point, old history.
No, but more what I was getting at though was that was with the promos that Miz was taking, where it was like, I was on this, you guys haze me, I shouldn't be here, you tried to run me out.
No, but I mean, it's reality era in regards to the wrestling business, not just...
No, what I'm saying though is
things.
Miz was the one... I can't believe I'm about to say this. Miz was like the first one to fully pull the curtain back. Punk ripped the curtain off, and that's what started it. But Miz, in my mind, when he won Money in the Bank, because that next night on Raw, and do you remember what happened when he won Money in the Bank? He took the commentator's headset and was like, you guys said I couldn't do this, I just proved you wrong. So for me, that's when it starts. I also agree with your Punk, when Punk dropped the pipe bomb. For me personally, I would just say when Miz won the Money in the Bank the year before.
Yeah.
But yours also works too.
There was another thing I was reading, and they were like, in the articles, like, oh yeah, this was, like, Punk started it, but this, like, blew it up. And it was, like, a smaller thing, like, it wasn't even, like, a main event level, like, angle.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like, a smaller kind of thing. And when I read it, I'm like, that's, like, that's your choice for what did it? And then I thought about it more, I'm like, oh, I guess a little bit. But I honestly, I can't remember, like, what it was. I'm drawing a blank on what the...
Do you remember what site it was on? You can look it up.
I think it was on this one right here. I'm trying to, like, go and find it, but...
For those of you who can't see his laptop, which is everyone but me, that was Wrestling Inc. that he was on. WrestlingInc.com.
Wait, what was this form? It was this guy made a good point.
I like the Miz one. I don't disagree. I'm just going to talk while he looks it up. I don't disagree with your CM Punk's pipe bomb. I would just go one step further back because Miz, when he was champion, US and WWE, he was very open with how the locker room treated him when he first got there.
Specifically with JBL.
Specifically JBL, yes. JBL was horrible to the Miz. The fact that Miz didn't quit, he deserved that title. And by that one I mean the WWE. Just the fact that he didn't quit with half the crap that was reported that JBL did to him, I would easily say Miz deserves the WWE title.
This guy was like when they buried Zack Ryder, kind of just to stick it to the fans.
I agree with that.
That's a shot because they're aware of the reality that he's over with us, but he wasn't over with them.
I like that argument.
He got over because of what he did outside the company, not because of what they planned to do with him.
And the machine didn't
and
want it.
Yeah,
so
and they're saying
I like it.
They're saying Punk's pipe bomb was certainly the foundation, but it picked up momentum with the burial of Ryder and became official at Raw 1000. And I read that and I'm like, it wasn't.
I like it.
It wasn't like that was big enough, but it wasn't like the championship reign. It wasn't like the biggest thing going on. But I'm reading that, I'm like, yeah, that actually does make sense.
I like that.
They finally no, if you're gonna like something, you're gonna like it because we want them to.
Not because you want this.
Yeah, and then now Daniel Bryan's kind of like continuing that trend.
The yes movement.
They're not necessarily, now they're kind of putting it into the storylines.
So, not to get off on that, speaking of Daniel Bryan and the yes movement, do you like that WWE is stealing the internet wrestling community's words?
Yeah.
The yes movement, Bautista.
This is the reality.
It's the reality.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Look, I'm personally loving it. The fact that they're like, we understand.
It's a good change of pace. They're at least, I like that acknowledging it.
Because and I know this sounds horrible to say, I think Triple H can Vince retire. Because Hunter's starting to get more and more pull, and that's when like these reality, for lack of a better word, storylines are starting to play in. Is when Hunter's getting more and more say in creative.
Yeah.
And I think that's wonderful. Like, I love what Hunter's done in the past year and a half in storylines.
This guy's mean to Zack Ryder.
What did he say to Ryder?
Like when the guy was like, oh, the burial of Ryder was like picked up and like the guy just went off on Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder is so entirely irrelevant. He was over because people thought he was funny. Nobody actually cared about him in the ring.
So was the Santino.
You get that. Nobody actually cared about him in the ring, and his character could not be booked into any sort of realistic, believable feud. I'd be shocked if Ryder sold a single ticket, drew a single TV viewer, or sold a single pay-per-view event. He wasn't buried despite the internet. He was buried because he had the legitimacy and relevance of Santino.
That's harsh.
That guy was harsh on Ryder.
Wait, did he say something about merchandise in there?
This guy's coming up. No. He just said, didn't sell tickets, didn't draw a TV viewer, and didn't sell pay-per-view.
Ryder sold merch, which is better. Continue.
Yeah.
So this is someone defending Ryder now.
This is someone defending him. Dude was top 10 in merchandise sales.
Thank you!
Ryder Ziggler 50 US titles, one of the most meaningful mid-card feuds in recent memory.
Seriously.
But that attitude for corporate to begin burying talent that got over without them started with Ryder and continued with Ziggler. Sandow is now a kayfabe part of the biggest main event storyline in business right now.
Yeah.
So they're just going off from reality here.
Sandow's another one that I'm shocked got buried as far as he did. Can we talk about that really quick? Has anyone dropped as quickly as Damien Sandow?
I thought Ryback had the record, and then Sandow came and shattered it.
We thought Swags had the record.
Swags
I think Sandow broke it.
Yeah, he broke it in like 2 weeks.
He broke
it. It's like I fought John Cena and took him to the limit, and like 2 weeks later, I lost to Santino in under a minute. It's like what just happened?
For those of you, because we didn't tweet this out or anything like that, when we went to SmackDown Boston, it was Sin Cara versus Damien Sandow. On Sandow's way out to the ring, I looked at Chris, and we have bets, or just usual, joking $1 bets. Which you never paid me for that one.
I won that one.
You took the over, I thought.
No, I took the under.
Oh, that's right. Then I owe you the dollar.
It was like
I owe you the dollar.
Yeah.
The joke was, or my bet was over under 2 minutes and 37 seconds.
And I took the under, and it was 1 minute and 37 seconds.
1 minute and 37 seconds on the dot, according to my timer.
He was getting a lot of offense. I'm like, there's no way. And then all of a sudden, it was over. And I'm like, okay.
Because it was a quick roll up.
It was a quick roll. It was just like, no.
Sandow has dropped so far. I remember tweeting out on Raw that week where it's like, our apologies to Damien Sandow. You were a former Money in the Bank winner, and now you don't even have an entrance.
Yeah.
Our apologies to Damien Sandow. You went from a Money in the Bank winner to jobbing to Sin Cara in under 2 minutes. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see if they actually pretend to rebuild Sandow back up, because he's good in the ring.
He is. I don't know what they. what he did to make them angry or what they saw in him that they like pulled the plug
so quickly.
like it's kind of alarming. It's not like something like I'm not too huge and we'll let him hear it. I was like, no, abort. It's just like, what happened?
Because that goes back to why couldn't you have given that the SmackDown Money in the Bank briefcase to anyone else at that point?
Exactly.
Because that match was him.
And they made him look so bad when he had the briefcase. They made him look terrible. They made him look weak in his feud with Cody. And then they give him that match against Cena.
And you're like,
and it's like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, I like that. And then it's like, no.
See,
forget it.
The thing for me with that is seriously, I want to know what, if he offended someone backstage and reports haven't gotten out, or what. Because they even had, like, Hunter and Stephanie belittle him in the ring. They had the Shield beat him down. I'm really curious to see what happened if reports come out where it's like, oh no, he tried to hit on Stephanie backstage. Like,
something bad.
Like, something. Like, it just seems like he dropped so far, so quickly, that something had to have happened.
Yeah.
So, we have been on for about half an hour now, and we've only talked about one match.
Yep.
What's the next match that you want to talk about? You have the card up, I don't.
Well, I had... What I was reading was Hulk Hogan's...
Wants Punk to return.
It was Hulk Hogan's predictions for the card.
Oh.
And I was just ready to see what he'd say, and I'm just like, of course, yeah. No shocker there.
So
you want to start with the Battle Royal then? Or do you want to do the Divas match first?
Do the Divas match, because that'll be the quickest.
That's going to be a mess.
It's going to be an absolute mess.
AJ's going to lose. I guess she could win. You know what? I'm going to say AJ's going to win.
AJ's going to pick because it's too easy.
It's too easy.
I'm honestly...
If she's going to lose, it'll be soon, but it'll be in a singles match. It'll probably be like, I could see it being literally the next day on Raw.
Yeah.
But it won't be... It could be that match. I see the thing they're trying to do. Like, whenever I say it's too easy...
It's too easy.
It's too easy for me to think it's too easy. Like, that's what they want me to go in there thinking, there's no way she's going to lose because it's too easy. And then she loses. You know, trying to, like, play with our minds like that.
See,
but
now I know this sounds like me kissing her ass. Do they think they have, like, a page come up?
To beat her?
To win? Or at least look really good in the process and getting, like, robbed?
No, not yet. No, they're going to give it to a Total Diva.
I hate Total Divas.
Yeah, but that's what gets them... That's what their whole Divas division is now.
It's AJ versus the Total Divas.
It's literally Total Divas then AJ. I mean, it was like this like a year ago. Now it's like this. And as much as we don't like it, it's just the way it is.
What kills me is how many matches are they going to have where it's the Total Divas versus the other Divas?
They've already done it like...
Every week.
Every week so far. It's really getting old.
The only thing that's saving that show from being total garbage is the fact that now Summer Rae's on it, she's getting pushed on Raw.
Yeah, but
she's someone I love.
She's still pretty green. They're all really green.
She's not nearly as green as you think.
No, but she's not nearly as
polished as
AJ or Paige or even like someone like Natalya.
My pick.
How was Natalya never won? Like, I mean, she's
won the Divas title.
She had.
She's won the Women's Champ. She's had the belt before.
Well, she's never had Divas Championship.
Are you sure? Check, because she's won the belts.
I don't think she's. Well, if she's never been Women's Champion, but she's never been Divas Champ.
She's had the belt before. Because they were talking about it on NXT that she's held it, that she had the belt.
I'm almost 100% certain if it was any championship, it would be women's. I don't think she's won the Divas Championship.
I think it's the Divas Champion.
Okay, never mind.
Both?
No, at least she was Divas. But when? I don't remember.
I know she was Divas Champion because they were talking about it on NXT. She had a match with Charlotte.
Ago.
I know it was forever ago.
Yeah.
It would be November 21st, 2010.
You know what I didn't know? Because like the 1 second I watched of like Total Divas, they're like, oh, well, you know, if you like kept more of your own business and worked on your own career, you'd have already been Divas Champion by now. Like you would have, because they really made it look like she never had it. So I'm like,
okay.
I don't remember her having it, so I guess I'll take their word for it because I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I'm like, did she win? I'm like, I don't know.
She won it. The only reason why I knew she won it is because I watched on last week's NXT. Mm-hmm. It was Natalya versus Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And Charlotte was like, oh yeah, you're former Divas champion from like 100 years ago. So it's like, I knew she won it because they mentioned it.
Yeah.
My pick for that Battle Royal, just so we can get off the topic, because we've been talking about it for like 4 minutes and it's like 3 too long.
Yeah.
I'll pick AJ, because it's too obvious that she's going to lose the title.
I'll pick...
But if she's going to lose it, my fingers are crossed for Summer Rae.
It's not going to be Summer Rae. I feel like if... Well, yeah, maybe it could be
My fingers are crossed for Summer Rae, because they're building her up, where it's like Total Divas with Summer Rae. She's the new addition. My pick would be that.
Yep. Brie Bella is still like the face of the show, though. Because Nikki's too dumb. Brie's the only one who's like a relatable character. And she's the, you know, usually the main focus of it. So I'd say probably Brie. They wanted to give it to Naomi before she got hurt. So I guess they could just do that. But, I mean, Naomi did get the pinfall last week on Raw.
True.
So that could be something.
I just hope that they get rid of that stupid rear view as the finisher for Naomi.
You can't take it seriously. I mean, you can't take the news seriously at all, but at least give her an actual finisher.
At least give her an actual... Like, when they had her do the Jomo's split-legged moonsaults...
Yeah.
Where...
That was nice.
That was pretty. Like, use that. But when they're like, oh, run off the ropes, I'm going to jump and throw my ass in your face.
It's like,
yeah.
Okay, we get you have a big ass. That's your finisher? Like, okay, I'm supposed to take you seriously when you beat AJ like that? Or something?
It just like kills what they're doing.
Yeah, it's like that's what Rikishi did, and he was a fucking comedy character.
It's like you are actually burying the entire Divas division when one of your more credible divas has that as her finisher.
Yeah.
When you compare that to like, just the... I know I keep bringing them up in there, my two lovers. AJ's Black Widow finisher, that submission holds.
Mm-hmm.
Paige's Paige Turner, and then I don't think she has a name for it yet, the move that she used to beat Emma at NXT Arrival.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty.
I don't think they
that was so pretty.
That was nice.
She was asking for names on Twitter, so I don't think she's named it yet.
Yeah.
But when you look in like
sorry, just to go off topic. Is the name of... we went over this before, but the name of Daniel Bryan's knee is...
It's the knee plus.
But no one ever calls it that. Like, I saw him do it 2 times in a row, and they're just like, it's the knee! It's the running... They just kept saying, like, it didn't even have a name. So are they going to establish that as a name, or is that just like, oh, he'll call it that, and us fans will, but they'll never ever call it that? Like, if he does it at Mania, I don't think they're going to call it that.
Do they have a name on Wiki for it yet?
Great question.
I know Wiki. We use Wiki as a very reliable source.
I've seen like an error on Wiki maybe once or twice, and it got fixed in like
I've refreshed the page.
Minute. It's like, if you're gonna do like a thesis and Wikipedia is probably not the best thing, just cause.
No, I like Wiki.
No, but
I've done research papers with Wiki.
No, I have too.
Because I use Wiki's sources as my source.
Here's my point though. People always give it crap, but 99% of people use Wikipedia just for small things. Just for every day, like, oh, I wonder what that is. And that's fine, that's what I use for, and people still give it crap. Wikipedia is awesome. Come on.
I love Wiki. I'll check. Making me move.
I just loaded it 2 seconds ago. I just checked Natalia's Divas champion then. How could I lose the internet already? I have 5 bars.
FSU Wi-Fi.
I love it.
I'm looking it up now. My internet's going, allegedly. There it goes. Brian...
Oh, right next to you.
I don't know. I have full bars now, which is what I didn't have when we first got in
If I
here.
had like 2 bars, I'd be like, well, okay, I have like 2 bars, but come on.
I'm on it.
Alright.
Not yet.
So
It still doesn't have a name. It says the running single leg high knee, 2013 to present, adopted from Kenta.
Yeah.
It's scary to think of how many people have stolen moves from Kenta.
Yeah.
I still think it's funny also that they call the move the flying goat.
Flying goat, yeah. Because that kind of thing is the goat. Well, I mean, it's not as much as it was when he was in Team Hell and everything. They've kind of moved on from that whole thing.
Which was good for him.
Well, yeah, because it was more of a thing to mock him, and no one's really going to mock him now when they're all on his side.
the closest thing they have to. Well, they still call him the Flying Goat and all that.
Yeah.
But it's not nearly as. Oh, it's goat face.
Yeah, because they would use it because that was just a way to get him mad.
Yeah.
So he'd be like, no, but like that's not even the point of his angle anymore.
Yeah.
Because he's the guy we're supposed to be on his side for the underdog.
Yeah.
But I was watching Total Divas and they were like, oh, look at his new shirt, and it was like the goat face. I'm like, oh, this was from a while ago.
Yeah. All right. So, like I said, to get off and this match, I pick AJ because it's too easy. If she's dropping the strap, I'll take Summer Rae.
Naomi.
That is a nice pick. Now, let me get the card up because your internet is down.
Well, I still have the card on here. There's only 5 matches.
I have 7.
Well, the ones we haven't talked about yet. Well, oh, okay. They
5 left.
They didn't have the Shield one on there.
Yeah.
That's why.
So
there's, yeah.
We'll talk about that one next because that's
There's
something I
6
see
left.
being early in the card.
There's 6 left then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Shield versus Kane and the New Age Outlaws, which would be Billy Gunn and Road Dogg.
Yeah.
What do you see playing out with that?
Shield
How
wins.
do you see that?
The Shield doesn't. I don't want to say carries them because Kane can still go.
Kane can still go.
But the Shield are good at,
6-minute tag matches.
Yeah, that's their specialty. So they'll
They were
elevate.
able to find 3 singles competitors who worked so freakishly well together
Just throw them together.
is beyond me. They hit the lottery when it came to that.
Yeah.
That would never happen again, even if they wanted it to.
Well, they would need like 3 established like indie stars. I guess Reigns wasn't really an indie star.
Reigns was an indie star.
That's what I mean. Well, okay, but he was the exception. He wasn't really a wrestling star at all. He just had to look for it.
He did.
And it just worked out for him. But Ambrose and Rollins were huge indie stars. Specifically Rollins. He was ROH champ for a long time in there.
And
The thing with Ambrose, he was in the smaller indie
He went
companies,
everywhere, though.
but he was one of those guys who was in PWG. He never went in Ring of Honor, but he was in CZW. He was all over the place.
He was everywhere else.
Yeah.
Didn't he have a New Japan stint in there too?
I don't think he had New Japan. He was in Dragon Gate. He was
everywhere.
He was everywhere.
He was Bryan before Bryan, minus the ROH.
Pretty much.
Is there any way the Shield loses this match?
I don't see why they would. Unless they wanted... Because then they're clearly not going to start the breakup thing now that they just turn them face. That's going to be more in the future. So I couldn't see them losing because of, miscommunications.
Unless their whole thing was turn them face now, just to end it, to have... Because I heard reports that they were going to have Reigns be the face, and Rollins and Ambrose stay together as a heel tag team.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And they thought it would be a better impact for everyone involved if they turned face and had Ambrose and Rollins throw out Reigns than if they were all heel and Reigns left.
Yeah.
Because then Reigns comes off as the sympathy guy. Obviously, he's going to be pushed to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to be someone that we're going to... I don't want to use the word shove down our throats, but he's going to be used a lot at first.
Yeah.
And he can come off originally as this sympathy figure. Oh, he was thrown out of the Shield. They were faces. We liked them.
There we go.
Hopefully this will turn into something good for everyone, because then Ambrose and Rollins look like bigger heels.
Yeah.
And
Basically evolution.
Yeah.
You throw up Batista. Batista was already a big name, but now he's main
Randy.
eventer. That's what I meant. Randy. Why did I say Batista? You know what I meant.
Batista's
Randy.
the other way.
Exactly. Batista was the opposite. Randy was a bigger name, but he was always kind of like lower than Triple H on the totem pole there. They throw him out, and at that point he hadn't been world champ. Well, actually, he just turned world champ.
He just turned world champ. That's what cost him.
But that's what it was. Before all this happened, he was a good IC champ, good, in that kind of range. He wins the championship, they throw him out, and it elevates him right up to the main event.
Main event level. And that's what is the idea.
I mean, obviously with Reigns here, this isn't going to be over the championship, but it's the same idea.
Well, it could be over a championship if they...
Well, if it's the U.S.
The U.S.
But
title.
it wouldn't be over the world championship.
No.
Not, I mean, I don't know how that would work, but it wouldn't be. But yeah.
So I picked the Shield, barring that.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna want to milk the Shield.
I think it's just gonna be a good match where the Shield wins. It's as simple as that.
I agree.
I mean, not every match needs like a big turn or twist.
It's WrestleMania.
Sometimes
it's
just
not
as easy as it
WCW.
looks.
It's not WCW.
Exactly. Sometimes a match is just we're gonna go out there and we're gonna put on a good match. You know, it doesn't always have to have meaning. It just has to be entertaining.
It just has to be good. It has to be fun. I agree with that. I'm gonna pick the Shield.
Yep, Shield.
So next off is. Do you have the full list? Conveniently, we're still 4 names short. Oh no!
Oh, it says right there.
Yeah, I just got that too. There are 27 spots announced for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal Memorial. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I'm gonna list them all off. They're in alphabetical order. Alberto Del Rio, Big E, Big Show, a fun addition, not pulling for him. Brad Maddox.
That's awesome. When that happened?
I don't know. I'm pulling for him. Brodus Clay,
Okay.
Christian, who I'm curious is even going to be in the match.
Is he even cleared to wrestle yet?
Well, he wasn't on Raw last week.
Who will they replace him with? They already lose like half the roster on this.
Call in a couple legends.
Maybe, either a couple legends again. Maybe like a Piper. Or like
Or
a Sergeant Slaughter.
hell, the
Hacksaw.
Real Americans.
Probably Hacksaw always seems to be one of those things.
Diesel. One of the Hall of Famers, if this new class is one of them's able to.
Would be able to.
Jake or maybe Hall. I don't know what Hall's.
Hall isn't.
I don't know Hall's shape.
I don't know either of their shapes because they're both still coming. They're still both kind of working for it. I don't know if you could. I mean, if it was for like a second and they got like right eliminated.
Oh yeah,
I guess
but
at
just,
that point it wouldn't matter how good shape you're in.
But anyways, Cody,
Yep.
Sandow,
Yep.
Darren Young, my pick, Dolph Ziggler,
Mm-hmm.
Fandango, McIntyre, Goldust, Khali, Slater, Jinder Mahal, Justin Gabriel, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, The Miz, Rey Mysterio, Sheamus, R-Truth, Santino, Sin Cara, Titus O'Neil, Zack Ryder.
What the hell is Tyson Kidd? Is Evan Bourne ready yet? Because that would be a nice return. Ezekiel Jackson not ready? But like, there's these guys.
Where's Hawkins?
Where is everybody?
Where's Hawkins?
Where is Tyson Kidd?
Where's Tyson?
Where's Bourne? He should be ready by now. Unless they're saving him for this, and that would explain it. But
That's 3.
he's been out forever.
Can we think of one more guy?
Forever.
Can we think of one more guy?
Zeke just had surgery, so he could.
Zeke's out. Because right now those 3 would put us at 30. But if Christian is not medically cleared, who slithers in?
Did you count Hawkins on that?
Yeah. No. So Hawkins,
Tyson Kidd.
Evan Bourne,
and
apparently counted Hawkins.
you just count Hawkins. So I'm like, there was no other reason.
So we're one person short if Christian's unable to compete. Tensai's I think now officially retired
Okay, is he?
to do commentary at NXT.
So he's like, but they can still use him for.
They could. Riley would also be one that
Regal.
would fit then. Regal would
be
fit.
awesome.
But like they have those 3. Xavier Woods, he's technically on the main
Is he
roster.
not in that?
He's not in it.
Why? It's weird.
Because they buried him.
I know, but I mean But look how many other guys are in that they get bury all the time. Drew McIntyre's in this. Talk about burying. He's like in the core of the earth.
No, who's in the core of the earth? Not Santino. Damien.
Yeah. He's the one to come out the other side. So they're gonna bury him so far he'll eventually come out again and he'll be on top.
That's what I'm pulling for Ryder, is that they buried him so deep that he's gonna come out with
No. Zack Ryder's a lost cause as much as the patients say at this point.
I don't think so. With the Last Resort show, I'm not convinced that he's a lost cause yet. I could see maybe Ryback, Axel, Cesaro, or Swagger.
What are those doing, double duty?
Yeah. Like, let's just say Swags turns on Cesaro. Cesaro gets put in. Swagger gets put in.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that could work. I mean, it's before the thing.
It's the pre-show.
Yeah.
So it would easily
all those
be
guys
before it.
are potentially could be in it again.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like when we say guys like Hawkins, I feel like they're just never gonna get anything. So when I say like, oh, they should put Hawkins in, it's like I can't even remember the last time I saw him on any kind of TV.
I know.
Like, because if he can't even make, superstars or whatever, like literally, I wonder like the last time someone like Hawkins, who was like no injuries, nothing, who's still under contract. When was the last time he actually wrestled? Like same thing with someone like JTG. Where did they go? I was saying like JTG could do it, but when was the last time you saw JTG even wrestle?
When he jobbed to someone.
If they're gonna not even bother putting him on Superstars, why would they put him in WrestleMania?
Because I feel like the whole purpose of this WrestleMania is to get everyone with a contract a payday.
Jeez, they must be feeling generous.
Who was I looking up? Hawkins.
Hawkins, I guess. Because I mean, when was the last? I'll look up JTG while you do that.
Not Hawkins. Fingers. Hawkins' last appearance, according to Wiki, would be
JTG only had one win in 2012 and 2013. He had one win for those 2 years. He beat Yoshitaka.
He made his return on the January 9th edition of Saturday Morning Slam, losing to Justin Gabriel, and has not won a televised match since.
Oh man, I forgot that show still existed.
No, it doesn't anymore.
Okay, that's why.
It doesn't.
When did it end?
Like
February was.
About February. It didn't last much longer after that. 2013 singles competition, 2013 to present. On January 21st, 2013, Raw, a short-haired Hawkins returned on television tapings in the show's closing brawl. He made his return on February 9th.
Oh, with a Rumble build-up brawl?
Probably.
Because I'm like, I don't know, what would he be in the last?
I'm gonna look in a second.
Had to be.
And that's when he returned, and there's nothing on it. So I don't even know if he was used for the rest of 2013.
I don't think he was in the Royal Rumble, was he? He's not the guy. You're stopped. He's still under contract.
Episode 1025. It was something with the Rock and Punk build-up.
No,
the
I
Shields.
think they're just comparing it to that.
Final thoughts, yes.
Because I think that
King's
guy was
Pyro,
just
Miz, yeah. So it was something like that. It was just a big WrestleMania preview.
Yeah.
Now, who's your pick?
I feel like Big E would be like the easy one. But Big Show could also...
That's way too easy for me.
Exactly, but... Okay, I'll go with Sheamus.
I'm picking Dolph.
I like Dolph.
I'm picking Dolph because they seem, again, like they want to push him.
Here's a fun game. Who do you think has the least likely chance to win?
Who's a credible chance to win?
I mean, literally the least likely chance to win.
Ryder.
I'm gonna say Kali.
Ryder.
Think so?
Yeah. Del Rio? Yes. Maddox could win. I'm just gonna pull off all the
What about
people
people
who
like
can't
Jinder Mahal though?
win. See, here's the thing.
How would they like? It's hard to rate them compared to someone like Ryder.
See, 3MB is so annoying, and they actually use them.
Well, I know, but if one of them was gonna win, it wouldn't be Jinder. It'd be Heath. And even that's a stretch.
Well, if they wanted to then push Jinder as the next foreigner. Like, I know that sounds incredibly racist. But they always have one upper mid card.
You can leave 3MB to go to the Real Americans.
Basically.
That'd just be 2MB.
But I could see something like that because he's the foreign guy.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kali. He's a tall foreign guy.
Let's be honest. There's only like 3 guys in there that could even have any chance of winning.
Del Rio can.
Big
E can.
Big
Show
can. It goes a while after that.
I would have said Christian, and if he is healthy, I'll add Christian.
Cody and Goldust won because of how much they have going.
Dolph can.
Dolph can.
Kofi might. Mark Henry could. I'll count Mark Henry not Kofi. Miz could because they keep giving him those
They do
weird
keep giving.
rubs.
They do keep giving those weird rubs.
We're up to 7.
Mysterio wouldn't.
Mysterio won't, but he has a big enough name where I'm counting
Exactly.
him. And Sheamus.
I still like Sheamus.
There are 9 people who could possibly win.
Sheamus to me is the biggest star of that group.
I feel like it's below Sheamus to win, so I'm not picking Sheamus. I feel like this would be a good spot for either Dolph, Del Rio, or Big E to win, and they have the trophy to go gloat about.
It's basically glorified money to make briefcase. Look what I got. Look what I got.
No, it's a glorified Slammy.
Yeah. I think it'll mean more than a Slammy will.
It'll be more than the Slammy will, but it's a glorified Slammy. So my pick is Dolph. I've been riding that bandwagon.
I think it'll be more like how like when people won like King of the Ring recently, they'd be like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm king, whatever." It didn't really mean anything, but it meant enough.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was more than winning a Slammy for like wackiest moment of like whatever. It's like who cares? You didn't win like best superstar, so get out of here.
I will agree with that. My pick is Dolph, just because they seem to be wanting to build him again.
It's a good pick. I could say maybe. I'm gonna say Sheamus, and if Sheamus is too easy, then I'll go with. Mark Henry.
Do you have a sleeper?
The Miz.
I'll take Maddox as my sleeper. Because it seems weird that they put him in there.
It does seem really weird. He hasn't wrestled in forever.
The last time he wrestled was when they had Orton squash him. And before that, it was when he was trying to get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to pick Maddox.
And even as those things, he wasn't a wrestler in that match. He was just the guy they put in the match. It's like when they put JR in a match. He's not a wrestler. He's just like, they put you in a match. It's like, because he was still, at that point, the punching bag, yeah.
So I'm going to pick Maddox as my sleeper because it could push the Authority somehow. Like, they could use that to their advantage.
I love how just they promoted Brad Maddox to GM, and then just, you never hear from him. Because it was just like right after that, the Authority really came into power, and it was just great. Because it's just like.
And then they give Kane the role, and then Maddox was just useless.
I remember seeing Maddox like, that'll be interesting to see how he works as the Authority figure, and then.
He was doing good in those like 3 weeks before the Authority.
Yeah.
Now, here is where we're done with the undercard, and here's why this podcast happened. Because we've been on this podcast for almost an hour, and all we've done is talk about everything we've already talked about on Cobra's Corner's new wrestling show from Tuesday. So now we're gonna get
defeating the purpose of this whole thing.
Defeating the purpose of the podcast. So now we have the big 4 matches of Cena Wyatt, Undertaker versus Lesnar, Daniel Bryan versus Hunter, and then the winner of that versus Batista versus Orton for the title. Let's start off with the easy one. Undertaker versus Lesnar.
It's Undertaker. There's no argument you could give me that makes it Brock Lesnar.
I saw... It's interesting. Did you see... I read this on pwmania.com last night with regards to Undertaker Lesnar. It was an article, and I'm trying to get it up there. There were a couple articles that have been posted over the last day or so about The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, their involvement in the storyline. I read one that... I'm trying to get it up. There we go. It's on PW Mania. If you go, it's called Breaking News on Brock Lesnar vs. Undertaker. Criticism over Lesnar's booking.
I literally... Where is it?
Just opened
I
it.
had that opened and I hadn't read it yet. It's the same there.
There are people within the WWE who believe Brock Lesnar should have been booked differently and more of a threat to Undertaker.
Yep.
Since the only point Lesnar did anything to Taker was the go-home angle on Raw this week, and that was a sneak attack from behind with a distraction, with the announcers calling Lesnar a coward. Which is what I was highly critical of when we briefly went over this.
Because if you're gonna make him, if you're not even gonna make him look strong, and the fact
What's
that
the point?
And the fact that you point it out and like spotlight saying he's a coward and actually like just straight out say it, you're not really doing an effective job of making him seem like not a coward and like, because the whole thing is he's supposed to be the beast. He shouldn't have to do that. Isn't that the whole point of someone like his character, his gimmick?
Yeah.
He's reckless. He'll go in there. He'll fight anybody. He doesn't care. He doesn't need distractions. He's the biggest, the toughest, the strongest, and he'll mess you up.
The original feud between Taker and Lesnar was talked about in 2010, had Taker proposing that Lesnar beat him to end the streak. Although that never was seriously considered, thinking it would be right for business. Feelings on the streak have obviously changed since then. Vince McMahon made the decision that the build in this match, Taker never gets touched. He was smart enough to change that rule for the final build of Raw.
You don't need to have
Vince has took over the control.
But here's the thing:
of
you don't even need to have him like hurt him or beat him up to make him look.
Just
credible.
not have him look scared.
Just not have him look scared. Have him have intensity. Have him look strong. You know, I mean, just you can make him look strong. Like, just have him like go backstage and beat someone up. Have him go do anything to make him look
multiple people.
Yeah,
like
put him in like
put
him in like a crazy like 5-on-1 match and just have him destroy everybody. Just make him look like he's unstoppable while having the Taker build. Don't just put him next to Taker and make him look scared and weak because that's all you did.
Okay, here's another update on this. We noted before that there was some criticism over Brock. Again, this is courtesy of PWMania.com. We noted before that there was some criticism over how Brock Lesnar vs. Undertaker feud has been booked this year. It said that Taker is not the guy to blame. That's not saying Lesnar is the one to blame either. Apparently, Taker has had more control over his Mania feuds in previous years compared to this one, which is just very ironic because his previous feuds have been Shawn, Hunter, and Punk. You'd think creative or, Shawn and Hunter would have more control over that, but apparently it's been more Taker.
Yeah.
So they finally take the booking out of Taker's hands and
Look what you did.
Look what you did.
It's working well. Why would you mess it up?
On a quick side note,
you wrestle him one match a year. You can't let him have control over it. Let him do what he wants. It's worked out so far, so good.
On this article as well, regarding the finishes of the WrestleMania 30 card, it said that the top finishes are booked and secured. Word is that the finish for the Vicky Guerrero Divas Championship Invitational has not yet been decided on, but AJ retaining has been pitched with the idea that it's such a face-heavy card of winners, they would need a surprise heel win.
That makes sense.
And that makes a lot of sense. If you're going to have a heel win...
Because who's the other heel in there? Tamina, kind of?
Yeah.
Or Summer Rae, I guess, but she's still technically a face-ish.
That entire thing is just heels.
Because she's only a heel on the TV show, not so much in, on, like, Raw.
Warrior. That's someone who's in shape who could probably do it.
Yeah.
Going back to the Battle Royal.
I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot about Warrior.
I did too.
Wow.
I did too,
He's the headliner of the thing, too.
Yeah. But I don't see any way that Taker loses. No. Not to Lesnar, not this year.
I mean, I'm hoping they put on a good match, but I could, as much as I think it'll be good, I can still see it being very disappointing.
See, here's the thing.
Especially coming off those last five matches, he said.
See, here's the thing. There were reports that the last 5, Shawn, Hunter, Punk. Shawn, Hunter, Punk. It sounded weird when I said it out loud. That those guys were in Texas with Taker working the matches their own time.
And here's the thing. Even last year when it was Punk versus Taker, the build wasn't that good. It really wasn't. But the match was awesome. So
the build was right after Paul Bearer died.
Yeah.
And it was just, how can we disrespect Paul Bearer?
It wasn't a really great feud because they relied too heavily on Bearer and not enough on the streak. They kind of lost focus. But the match was still good. I'm not as confident now that this match will be as good, and that's not going to make up for the poor build-up.
The poor build-up.
See, last year they kind of made up for it with the match.
They did. This year, I don't know if that will happen.
I'd like it to, but it's one of those things where they've kind of dug themselves in the hole.
Is there any way that it's not Taker?
No, there's just no way.
Okay.
Ooh.
What?
He's like, well, Sting to WrestleMania 30. I'm like, what would he be doing there? Anyways, you can go.
I was gonna switch matches now.
Okay.
John Cena versus Bray Wyatt. We'll talk about next. This match has the potential to be something interesting because I don't know the finish for this.
I go back and forth. I'm like, well, this should happen, but I'm like, maybe not. I'm like, well, it's Mania. Cena
I
will
keep
go over.
convincing myself-
I'm like, but no.
I keep convincing myself of one thing and then changing my opinion. I have not been able to mentally commit to either Cena or Bray walking away as not as champion, but just walking away the victor.
Yeah.
Because every time I think, oh yeah, Wyatt has made Cena look scared, and made Cena look weak for like the first time in over a decade. I don't know if there's a way to rationally go, yeah, Bray can win. Because they've made Cena actually look weak. But then I'm like, wait, they've made Cena look weak.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every day. So Bray will win. Bray's gotten over every week. There's no way. Oh, but then Cena got the last word at the Raw.
Mm-hmm. And this is Cena who we're talking
And it's
about.
Cena.
He's coming off the two of the biggest matches in Mania history. You think they're gonna have him lose to a new guy like this? And it's like, but it's not just any new guy. It's like you can't keep going back and forth.
I keep going back and forth. And honestly, I love that.
That's how you know it's properly booked.
I am going to be...
When you can go into a wrestling feud and not have like a decent idea who's gonna win, that's rare.
They're doing it right.
That's rare. Especially in today's day, we basically know everything. Like we can go down this entire thing and be like, well, I want this, but I mean, this is gonna happen.
It's like I'm pulling for Dolph. Dolph's my pick. It's Sheamus, Big Show, or Big E.
Let's be honest with you.
The Shield.
It's the Shield.
It's the Shield. They're not losing to Kane and the Outlaws.
That's why I found it funny that they have betting odds for Mania. It's like, but I can basically know.
I was gonna get to that after.
Like, cause they have betting odds on Taker and
Lesnar.
And it's like Lesnar's 9-1, but no one's gonna do that. Like, if you're gonna have like a crazy underdog, you need to have at least know that it's not predetermined and they'll have a chance. Like, if you took the Patriots and put him against like a high school football team, the odds would be stupid, but he'd still at least have a shot of winning.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be almost like nothing, but you know it's not already decided, oh, the Patriots are going to win. Something, could happen. This is done. They know what's going to happen. How do you bet on it?
I think a better example is the 08 Patriots versus the 07 Detroit Lions.
Yeah, exactly. You got the idea.
But like this, the 0-16 Lions versus the 18-1.
Yeah, like they're not going to win, but they have
there's a shot.
It's still possible. This is not really, unless they really just want to throw the streak away, which they're not going to do. It's not possible.
But Cena versus Bray, I genuinely.
And wait a minute, and I think of it like this. They have betting odds. What if the member of creative
leaked?
Not even leaked, but like he went to his buddy like, hey, go bet on this.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, go put down a bet for me on I know Lesnar's gonna win because I booked this. Go put all my money on it and I'll make a fortune. It's like, how that's not even legal.
Yeah.
That would be
as boxing.
Exactly. That'd be considered tampering with that's. How can you have betting odds in WrestleMania?
I don't know.
Because I was literally reading them they have what?
Yeah, they have actual betting odds.
Why?
From
why?
Which betting companies?
Bovada did it, and they're a pretty big one.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing. Even if everything is predetermined, it's still creative. They can still.
I know, but here they are. You want to go through the odds when we read them, just for
fun. But who are you leaning more towards right now, Cena or Bray?
It's tough. Cena. Oh, just like 51% to 49%. I'm not confident.
What's the most you've been convinced one way?
When they had him tied up in the ropes. And kind of had the mask over
Which
him.
was epic.
Which was awesome. Just like that shot of that, how vulnerable Cena was, like also with like the mirror in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like how like scared and like rattled he was, which is something you don't usually see with Cena. Because he's usually like the Superman kind of stronger than everyone, doesn't really get off his thing. That was like a point where I'm like, wow, maybe he actually like is gonna go over.
He could actually go over.
Yeah.
The most I've been convinced was that same week. What would you put a percent on it? Like how, like percentage wise?
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are you kidding me?
What's the most like percentage wise that week? I think the most I hit was 60.
Yeah, I was saying like 60-ish, 60, maybe 65, 35 for Bray.
Because
but I can't go any more than that.
I can't go any more than that either way because they're trying to build Wyatt up as this elite heel by having his first WrestleMania match be Cena.
Yeah.
And the fact that Harper and Rowan are now great in the ring helps me pick Wyatt. If I'm going to pick, I will pick Bray. I'm not putting money on this one.
Yeah.
I'm not rationally putting money on this feud either way. It's too
close to call.
It's too close. It's way too close to call. So you want to do the betting odds because you just got those up?
Yeah, I wanted to do the Bovado ones, but let me see if I can find them.
We'll just ignore it. We'll
Yeah,
make a
that's
note
fine.
on. We'll make a note on Facebook and Twitter, posting the links, showing what they actually are. But it is currently. We've been going in this podcast for an hour now. It's been an hour and 7 minutes according to my clock. We still have to hit the two biggest matches on the card.
Yeah.
Which would be Bryan versus Hunter.
And in turn, the triple threat.
And then in turn, the triple threat. How do you see this playing out?
Well, I honestly, it seems like to me it's too easy to pick Bryan in both, but I'm gonna pick Bryan in both.
I will pick Bryan to beat Hunter.
You don't think he's gonna win the triple threat?
I will pick Hunter to win the belt. I see.
How do you have that happen?
Hunter adding himself.
Make it a fatal four-way?
Make it a fatal four-way.
I mean, he has the power to do it.
He has and that's exactly the thing, is he has the, no pun intended, the authority to insert himself into the match, especially if it was a close, like, I'm just gonna go out and say something, like, it's the yes lock. Hunter taps, but his foot's under the rope.
Oh, yeah.
Like something like that.
And it's like, well, we can't redo our match, and while you're already in it, I'm just gonna throw myself in too.
Yeah. Or what I could see, I'll pick Bryan, and then Bryan in a fatal four-way. I could see, because we talked about this on the podcast, with Bryan beating Hunter, and then everyone beating down on Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter going up, he's down. We've advertised a triple threat match. And then triple threat match starts. Bryan comes out halfway through the match.
Yeah.
And gets an even bigger.
Yeah, it's one of those like, how is he gonna like perform now? It's one of those you get in doubt.
No. I'm saying the authority takes out Bryan after Bryan wins.
No, and then
Hunter
puts himself in because he's unable to compete, and then he comes out afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like
mid match.
Yeah, like I'm still like ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did that. They've done that before with other things.
They have, which is why there is a precedent there.
Yeah.
So I can see something like that. If everything runs clean, how do you see it playing out?
I'm still sticking with
Bryan. See, I it's creative, so I want to pick something else. But I don't think WWE can pass up the opportunity to have the entire...
They already did it once with the Rumble, so they can't afford to do it again.
Yeah.
They need to have that crowd behind him when he wins. That's going to be the, just that shot of him holding the belt with whatever pyro or confetti or whatever, with people yelling in the background.
Everyone going like
that's
this.
gonna be something you put in highlight packages for years.
Let me put it like this: this wasn't even intentional. Look what they did at Raw Providence when he turned on Wyatt, who wasn't even over yet.
Yeah, he's on top of the cage.
And he's on top of the cage, and the entire crowd's starting to go yes, and then he stops, and the crowd hushed, so they could yes in unison with him.
Yeah.
That was one of, I think, the craziest things, was watching this crowd in unison go yes, and then Bryan go, no, we're doing this on my cadence.
Yeah.
And the crowd hushing to be able to yes with Bryan. I feel like that's way too big of an opportunity to pass up to have them do at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those things where the packages, like I use this as my reference point, WrestleMania 20, a decade ago, Benoit and Eddie. Mm-hmm. Until Benoit,
yeah, that was one of the that was the marquee ending of WrestleMania, because it transcended the thing. It was like the real life.
It was bigger than Mania.
It was because they had no storyline at that point where they're friends.
No,
it was just Eddie came out and it was just they're sharing that moment together. They both had championships at Mania. Benoit had come so far to get it, and he finally won.
Eddie went so far,
and then they shared the moment
his.
together. Yeah.
They shared that moment, and it was so special. I don't think they can pass up the opportunity, because do you remember reports from
this won't be as good as that because it doesn't have the emotional thing to it, because
but here it doesn't have the emotion from it,
but it has
its own
different
emotion.
It does.
You feel with Bryan relief. You feel
vengeance.
You feel redemption.
Redemption. That was the word I wanted. Redemption. Yeah.
When it comes to the Eddie Guerrero Chris Benoit moment, it was vindication.
Yeah, that was just
the
culmination of long careers, and all their hard work finally paid off.
Together, these two guys, who, counting Rey Mysterio as well, the Three Amigos, which is where that came from. It was the Three Amigos move, but they never really acknowledged it until after Eddie passed. Mm-hmm. The Three Amigos were Eddie, Rey, and Benoit. Mm-hmm. Those were the Three Amigos. That's who Eddie named the Three Suplexes after. The fact that they were able to share that moment at WrestleMania was such a marquee moment, and it lived until... Wow, that's a really bad pun. I'm going to end that one there. And it was that moment until Benoit pulled the Chris Benoit, the double murder-suicide, and they need something to replace that. Because even with Cena Dwayne, the only moment that they have is that first stare down in the match. Have you noticed that?
Well, they have the ending of last year's where The Rock kind of shakes his hand
and he said,
"This is what I came back for." Thank you.
Well, they have the whole moment, but there's no.
What the Rock said was meaningful. He's like, "You're the reason I came back. This is what I wanted."
Yeah.
Thank you for everything. Kind of not passing the torch, because Cena was already at that point a star, but kind of showing that he respects him.
Yeah.
That you're one of us. You're an elite WWE superstar forever. Kind of cementing the legacy.
It cemented Cena's legacy, which is ironic because that's the whole point behind the Wyatt feud, is that he's trying to destroy Cena's legacy.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's no way that WWE can afford to pass up the opportunity to have...
What do you do? Have Orton somehow win, and then let's just say Triple H isn't in it. Let's just say it's a triple threat match like it's supposed to be.
Okay.
You have Orton win it by Daniel Bryan hits Batista with a knee, but then he RKOs him, or he throws him out of the ring, one of those classic triple threat things where you steal the pinfall. The crowd would be pissed. You can't afford to end a Mania like that.
And that's...
You can't afford to have one of those two win it, considering how bad their build-up's been.
Yeah.
Because then what are you going to do? Just have Bryan win it at Extreme Rules?
Is Extreme Rules in Seattle?
No, I don't think so. Check.
I know there's a pay-per-view coming up in Seattle. And unless they waited to give it to the home crowd, I would have to pick Bryan to win at Mania.
To New Jersey.
Then there's no chance in hell I can I can give it to anyone besides
And
Bryan.
even if it'd just be a waste. And even if it wasn't Seattle, it'd be a good reaction, but it still wouldn't be Mania.
And that's the thing.
Mania means
if you look back, people are still bitter that they didn't let Dolph cash in at Mania. They waited last year until the day after.
Mhm.
Granted, the crowd was more on Ziggler's side the day after WrestleMania,
But it wouldn't have meant as much.
but it would have meant so much more if he walked out of WrestleMania with the belt.
Yeah.
And that's what it goes back to Bryan, is it's him leaving WrestleMania as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That all of the emotions that we've already stated, vindication, vengeance.
Yeah, all those things.
If anyone could walk away with vindication at Mania, it would be Bryan, walking away as...
He's the only one who's really had this obstacle to overcome.
He's had the indie, like that indie smell. Then he gets rid of the indie smell.
This is the culmination of his whole struggle to really make it, in this business. All his hard work in the indies, all his hard work coming up through NXT, all his hard work, they're not going to mention it, but being fired, then brought back, like the
tie choking incident,
all that, coming back, fighting his way up,
Getting back, give the U.S. title, look weak when he has it, lose the title.
Get the World Heavyweight Championship, lose it in 18 seconds to Sheamus at Mania. It's like, this is for all that, and then his eventual push, this is the culmination of it all.
Like, we acknowledge that he's already been world champion. They do acknowledge that. But they don't acknowledge that, because it was only the world heavyweight. Yeah. They don't really acknowledge...
Shows how much that mattered if they can't even mention it as an accolade anymore.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where the build-up and the... just... You want to go with relief? I think of relief is a good word, of him finally winning, walking out of the WrestleMania as champion. It just... so emotional. The confetti falling, the pyro, all...
That shot of him behind, like with the sign behind him in the crowd.
Yeah, saying behind him. It would... I don't see... Unless they went the polar opposite, gave the belt to Batista for that moment going the other way. The crowd being so bitter at the guy for winning. Because I think at this point, if Orton walked away as champion, they'd be mad, but they would at least go, it's not Hunter, it's not Batista.
It would be funny if they had Bryan turn heel in the match and then win. But I'm not sure what he could possibly do at this point to have him turn heel.
There's nothing he could do right now to turn heel.
Because usually heel things are like when you use a weapon to attack somebody. If you did a chair and start beating Batista, that would make him cheer even more.
Look, at this point, anything short of Bryan costing Cena for the female fans and the young kids.
He finds CM Punk's letter to Triple H. I want to come back, and he rips it up and just takes it away. It's like, nope, I kept CM Punk from coming to WWE. That's the only way people will be mad at him.
Yeah, because at this point he can do no wrong. Because even if he turns on Cena,
people don't like Cena.
The male fans are gonna erupt.
Yeah.
Those yes chants will get deeper.
It's like it would just be a funny middle finger from W's. You want him to win, fine, but we're not gonna have him with you. We're gonna have him against the fans. It'd be kind of fun. It would never happen.
Bryan joins the Authority. It's a finger poke of doom at the main event of WrestleMania.
God.
It's the only way I can see Bryan getting booed at this point.
Yeah.
Is if he joins the Authority.
Yeah.
Because there's just no way
Corporate
they pass
Bryan, next Raw, he shaves off his beard and his
Well,
his
can
hair.
I make one thing to point out that's actually really relevant to this match?
He's probably gonna have to.
One thing that's really relevant to this match, the 11th, April 11th. That's the Friday, right? Can you open that up? Open up the calendar for me.
That's his wedding.
Yeah.
So he's probably gonna.
April 11th is next Friday. Is his wedding with
Brie Bella.
Which is such an interesting thing.
Because one of those things is he gonna actually clean himself up for his wedding? Because you can't go to a wedding looking like that, but that's
who he is.
That's
right
one
now.
of his biggest things is what he looks like.
Or here's the thing:
So,
does he get a honeymoon? Because normally when they get married, they let him stay off camera for a week.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 weeks after Mania. Can they afford A, Bryan, and B, their champion off camera that week?
Yeah. they'd have to write in some kind of storyline for like a week. Like they could have something where it would make sense.
They could do something, but it's just a matter of.
Yeah.
That's just one thing that's really interesting to take a note of is that his wedding is
like
only
if
a week
he
away.
like let's just say he wins on Sunday, and he gets
wrecked by the authorities.
Yeah, he gets ambushed. They strap him into a chair and they like shave off his hair, just like one of those things to get to him. You know what I mean? Because that would get to the fans too. Just one of those, like, you're not gonna hurt him per se, but you're gonna like take something from him.
Yeah.
That he loves. And it'd be one of those where he didn't choose to do it, so you wouldn't be mad at him for doing it.
Yeah. So
he still gets to look nice for his wedding.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's going to be interesting, and that it definitely needs to be pointed out that his wedding is only a week away.
Yeah.
And that's the whole, like, how will that affect WrestleMania? Because if they do need to write him off to give him his honeymoon, how do they do it? Do they do it rationally? His beard, does that get shaved off somehow? They need to find out how to write all that into storylines. And it's just one thing to make a note of. I would still pick Bryan going both ways.
I'll still pick Bryan going both ways.
I don't see how there's any other way that they can rationally let...
There really is not.
There isn't. I don't see how they could do that.
Yeah.
So I think that basically just wraps it up. We were able to give you an hour and 22 minutes from this very second of Cobra's Corner's new wrestling show in special edition form.
Yeah.
Stay tuned because we are going to soon post a baseball one because we still wanted to do that like we said. We didn't forget. It's just time constraints we weren't able to until today. So here's the WrestleMania podcast. Give us some time and we will post a baseball podcast. Remember, as always, because we didn't do the over-the-top intros, I am your host, Jason Lilly. As always, this is Chris Hudson. You can follow me on Twitter at JLilly33, Lilley. You can follow him on Twitter at CHudson_22. We are Cobra's Corner. Follow us on Twitter at Cobras_corner. That's also our Instagram handle. Remember to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/CobrasCorner. And as always, check out our website, www.cobras-corner.com, where we have everything up. We've posted in the past day and a half, we've posted 2 baseball articles.
Yep.
I'm working on, and I'm almost completed with my own article for the WrestleMania breakdown, which basically mimics everything we've talked about here, just in article form. We've posted like just the infographic of like the baseball fan regions.
Still a lot of stuff to check out on the website.
We're posting a lot more content. There was that doldrum in sports that's now over.
That post Super Bowl kind of lull.
The Super Bowl hangover is now gone. Baseball season's up. Hockey's picking up swing.
Final Four is coming to
Final
an end.
Four. We're picking up
Basketball, hockey playoffs coming up. A lot of stuff's coming up.
And wait until the NCAA championship is over because we will repost the brackets
to see
that
how
me
much
and Chris
we
posted.
miserably failed.
To see how much me and Chris actually do not know about college basketball.
I've never said I did, but I mean, I thought I knew more than that.
I thought I knew more than what I did this year. I'm not saying I was an expert. I'm not saying I was Gottlieb, but I'm not.
Gottlieb's bracket probably didn't look much better than
It
yours.
probably doesn't, so I got that going for me.
Yeah.
But we thought we knew more. But anyway, like we said, check out all of our sites. We're going to be posting special edition stuff soon. We're actually going to also start doing more of these special edition podcasts because we just want more content up. And we like doing this, and we like the interaction with the podcast and the YouTube show where we will be doing more of this. And remember, just because we are in college and the school year is wrapping up within a month, our shows are not going to stop.
Right.
We both live close to each other. We're still trying to hammer out time, but we will still have the show will be filmed at this point and it will be uploaded by this point come summer.
It might not be on the same day you're used to seeing it, but we'll get something up for you.
We will still have a weekly 2 shows. The times may not be 2 hours, 1 hour. It may be like an hour, hour and a half, or 50 minutes, or like one show, like the wrestling show has 2 separate half-hour we're still trying to hammer out all those fine details, but just keep checking Twitter, keep checking the Facebook page, keep checking the website, where we will post all of these details as we hammer them out and set them in stone. But we will catch you guys later for the baseball preview, and remember to check out the show Sports Vortex Monday from 4 to 6, and Cobra's Corner's new wrestling show from 11 a.m. to noon, Monday and Tuesday respectively. And just as one last editor's note, this Monday we will not be having Sports Vortex. It will be invaded by Cobra's Corner's new wrestling show. The fallout of WrestleMania is way too important for us to devote an hour to.
That takes precedent over it.
We are still not sure. We might even do a 2-hour show with a special podcast Monday. We might film a special podcast Sunday night as our instant reactions, and then after we've slept on it, we're still hammering out all these details, guys. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun ride for the next week or so. Just check everything out, and we'll catch you later for Sports Vortex's baseball preview. Wave goodbye to YouTube, Chris. Bye, YouTube.